What happens at Grandma's stays at Grandma's is a model for you and your grandkids. If it's fun, it's fair game. But lately, hip pain has you grimacing more than laughing. And that's the moment you realize life's too short to put off treatment any longer.
The Joint and Spine Center is Cincinnati's leading destination for orthopedic care, with hundreds of joint replacements each year. So when a moment has the power to change the rest of your life, go to the one place with the power to change it for the better. The Christ Hospital Health Network. This changes everything.
The Pound This Podcast is brought to you by the Christ Hospital Health Network. This is the Pound This Podcast, episode 679, How Sore Should You Be After a Workout with Josh Garrett.
I want to lose weight, but I don't know how to get started.
What should I meal prep every week?
How do I get those sweet booty gains?
Inspiration for your healthy lifestyle. The Pound This Podcast with Amanda Valentine.
Hey friends, welcome to the Pound This Podcast. I am your host, Amanda Valentine, and I have been obese for most of my life. I'm going to say about 6 years old or so, spent well over a decade yo-yo dieting. And then about 10 years ago, I made a New Year's resolution to stop dieting and start making the best decision possible in every moment. And from then, my entire life has changed. I've lost over 100 pounds. I started this podcast at the beginning of 2018 to help other people on their weight loss journeys or their journeys to become healthier people. And I have quit my full-time 9-to-5 job, become a certified personal trainer, a certified nutrition coach, and I want to do everything in my power with my own personal journey to help you on yours. So if you're listening to this podcast and you find any value in any episode you listen to, please, please, please share the love, share with family, friends, anyone you think that could find some benefit from this podcast. And you can always reach out to me with any questions or comments. You can email me at amanda@amandavалентиnebites.com. It's my goal to give you the best information possible for your journey and let you know that you're not alone. I appreciate you listening so much, and I would really appreciate you also sharing the love with this small business entrepreneur as I try to make my life's mission helping other people live their best lives. So here we go. Thank you so much for listening to the Pound This Podcast. I am Amanda Valentine. Josh Garrett is here. What's up?
How are you?
Good. So anybody new to this podcast, Josh, you've been on this podcast, nearing 60 times now? Something like that is a little aggressive.
a little aggressive.
But just for some backstory, somebody's going to be like, why is this a different kind of episode where Amanda's going to go off on a tangent here for about 10 minutes and ask all sorts of weird ass questions instead of getting to the topic? It's just because I have fun doing that to you. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you enjoy it. But Josh is the owner of Cincy 360 Fitness, also a personal trainer, and also currently my boss. Yeah. And and so I just enjoy asking you kind of off the wall questions and having some fun before we get to the topic, which today's topic is somebody messaged me on Instagram and asked a question about levels of soreness after workouts. So heads up, we will be getting to that topic in a second. But I wanted to start off by saying we had this discussion, me and you, off the air personally last week, where one of my clients said that you look like Chris Martin from Coldplay. And my response was, Josh will have no idea who that is. And I was correct. And so then we got into the discussion of what celebrity do you look like? And who did you say the one you get most common is?
Eminem.
Okay. And do you agree with that?
I mean, I can see the similarities.
I mean, is there any celebrity where you're like, you think you look like them?
No, not really. Yeah.
And it's weird because this topic has come up for me a lot, just working in media, which is strange. But I'm like, you know what? Like, because we talked about how you could brace yourself and somebody's like, you know who you look like. And you're like, oh, God, what? And you're just like, And how, earlier in my life where, people have said that I look like Rosie O'Donnell and you're just like, you don't look like that at all to me now. So I'm like, you know what? We were having this discussion. I'm like, I'm going to brace myself. And I put an Instagram story up and I'm like, I'm probably going to regret this. What celebrity do you think that I look like? And I got some really interesting answers. I will say that like some of these I'm like, damn, really? Like none of them were like, what?
So they were good ones.
They're all good ones.
They boosted it up
and a
little
couple of
bit.
these I've never heard of these women before, so I pulled up their pictures to ask your opinion. I mean, if you had to say that I look like a celebrity, who would you say that I look like? I know, of course I am.
I don't even know celebrities' names. Like I couldn't even.
Well, some of these I'm going to throw out. You will know.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Probably not.
No, you will. There's some of them are some big names. The other ones I knew you wouldn't, so I pulled up pictures because I had to Google them as well.
Let me just see the people that have
No,
said,
you
and
give
then
an
I'll
answer
say like
first.
yeah or no. I don't honestly.
Okay.
Nobody is coming remotely,
Okay.
and I don't want to.
You hurt my feelings?
Yeah, that's such a subjective thing of like.
Well, I'm just gonna say the ones that I got the most common answers for, or like where I got multiple answers for. One was Reese Witherspoon, and I was like, really? Okay. One that I got a couple of was Alicia Silverstone, which I'm like, I don't really see that, but you know who that is? Clueless. No. You've never seen them? Oh, God, yeah, you wouldn't know that one.
I know, I'm so horrible. This is such a bad topic with me.
So you know who Reese Witherspoon is. Another one I got a couple times was Jennifer Aniston.
Okay.
And I was just like, really? And then one I got multiple of where I'm like, I have no idea who this person is Jennifer Morrison.
Okay.
And I'm like, I had to Google her, and I still don't know who she is. But this chick.
All right.
So this girl here. Another one I got was, you got to go look at me, look at this chick.
I can kind of see that. Okay.
Another one I got was Amanda Peet. And I recognize her, but I don't know it from what. So this, and then the other one I got, which I do know this girl is Linda Cardinelli. Is I got her multiple times too. Any of these ringing any bells for you?
I'm not really seeing the last two. The first one though, this one, yeah. I can definitely see something about like the facial structure features.
Well, then the other one, let's look up.
And who?
Jennifer Aniston.
Pick up.
Oh, dang. Everybody's listening to this like, why are we doing this? I'm like, well, why not? It's my podcast. That's why.
You don't like it, hit fast forward.
And then so if you're listening to this, then you're just going to be like, and you don't know what I look like. So then there's Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, see the I could see that.
And then Reese Witherspoon, which it's so funny to me. You don't know what these people look like.
I mean, I know what they look like once you pull them up.
Yeah. Oh, come on, images.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's the cheekbones, the structure to the sides. Yeah,
okay.
That I think, and then the blonde hair. I mean, always.
Well, then that's
helps.
where I got. Why am I blanking on her name right now? The lead chick from Zooey Deschanel. I got her a lot, but that's when my hair was dark, and I had my bangs still. But maybe you can tell me because I think it's because of the hair, but maybe I look like her in the face too. But I got this one a ton whenever I had dark hair.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's kind of that same structure. Like it's the
same face structure.
Yeah, it's kind of like it goes. I'm so horrible at explaining stuff. It's like the cheekbone goes down and then it kind of makes the V when it goes down to the chin. The
Gotcha.
V face. Yeah, is that
I don't know. It's this thing. I don't know.
Technical term?
But yeah, so I'm like, oh, so this is interesting to me. But then like let's look up Eminem. And then let's compare you, because why not? I mean, ooh, look at modern day Eminem. Wow. All right. He looks like a country artist now, which you would probably hate to hear that. I mean, but like old school Eminem, right? So like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see that. But again, is it just short blonde hair thing?
Yeah.
Like I don't know if I had to like really look at your face and look at his face.
Yeah. It's got to be a quick look.
Yeah. So if you're feeling saucy, anyone listening to this and want to throw it out there, what celebrity I look like, brace yourself and get these answers. You know what I mean? That's I'm like, are all of these answers I got, again, these were the most common ones I have where I was like, oh, I am not mad in any way if anybody's saying I look like Jennifer Aniston.
Right?
Like that is awesome. You know what I mean? Of like, I will 1000%.
Yeah, but see,
take that.
The cheekbones, like it goes straight and then kind of down to the V with the chin.
Yeah.
Like I see that as a similarity. And then when I do, yeah, I can see it. Uh-huh.
Cool. So, yeah, not that looks matter, but yeah, when people say you look like somebody and you don't know, and you Google them and you're like, that's not what I look like.
Yeah.
And I think it gets so, and at least for me, like having so much like body dysmorphia in a lot of ways, it could just play with that. Like, cause it's like, is that how people perceive me? Like, I know how I perceive myself in the mirror, but is that how other people see me? And is that real? Like, is everybody see me that way? Like, do people meet me and think Jennifer Aniston? Like, in my mind, no, they do not. But if, like, do people think that? Like, that's where it's like, like, I guess it's just thinking about how you show up in the world. You know what I mean? Or at least visually show up in the world.
Yeah, and I think that's what is interesting when it's like, what correlation did you put to make that statement?
Yeah.
What in your head triggered? Is it like a charisma, like how I present myself? Is it the hair color? Like what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like another one I got was, you'll get this reference. You won't know her real name, Elizabeth Berkley. She was Jessie Spano in Saved by the Bell.
Okay.
And I was just like, I've never gotten that one before. But again, is it like because I have lighter hair? You know what I mean? Of like, that's why I thought the Zooey Deschanel thing was, I'm like, is it just because I have dark hair? Or I think it's because I don't know if you've ever watched that show. I assume you have not.
What show?
New Girl. She's just very quirky.
Okay.
She's just very...
Yeah, right.
She's
like,
just quirky. And I'm super quirky.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just think that's such an interesting topic that, I don't know if people get into those conversations on the daily, but like, I don't know. I just had that a lot working in radio, that it became topics where we would even share pictures of ourselves and be like, oh God, tell us who we look like. And then just basically begging to get our feelings hurt.
Well, yeah, right? Like if you over and over again get told this person, you'd be like, oh man, this is awful.
Right?
All right, time to change everything up here.
Exactly. But that's why I'm like, or it could be like the one, like there's nobody that I got that out of all of the people that responded where I'm like, oh no, they think that, oh my God. Does it look like it was in an accident or something? You know what I mean? Of like, oh no, these are some hot bitches. Like, cool. Okay. Like I'm down for that. So I don't know. It's just an interesting experiment where I'm like, oh, we had the conversation, you know what? I'll dive in and see what people think. And
pleasantly surprised.
Exactly.
Look at that.
All right. So I do want to play my sweet and spicy game here, but we'll take a break from that and actually go into the topic of soreness for a second. And let me pull up the exact message I got here. Someone said that they've worked with personal trainers and done group fitness over the years. They said they've done workouts at home, but they're not ready to go back to the gym. And they're just, oh, no, never mind. This is the wrong message. This is for a different podcast. That's my fault. My bad. Never mind. This question is, why do personal trainers have to make you so sore? She said, I don't mind being a little bit sore because I know I work that muscle, but some trainers are so hardcore. I tell them I don't want to be sore. I can't move or can't sit on the pot. And they are like, oh, I love that feeling. Okay.
Right.
Let's you had a good workout. And she's like, it pisses me off and I don't go back. Got any suggestions? My suggestion to that was get a new personal trainer.
Exactly.
But that's where it's like, let's have the topic of like, what level of soreness do you want to be at? Like, and first off, it's horrible that they're just like, hey, I'm going to shred you and make you so sore. And, oh, I love that feeling. So you just assume everybody else does. Like, that's whacked. And again, you're going to the wrong person. But then it's like, well, what level of soreness do you want to be? If you are working out at home or you don't have a personal trainer to kind of gauge that level off of, it's like, well, what is healthy? A healthy level of soreness? Do I want to be sore at all? And is it good if I'm so sore that I can't get myself off the toilet because that means that I just like crushed it today? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, where's the sweet spot on the spectrum?
Well, I think that it's, just like everything, it's so subjective person to person, right? Like it's whatever your goals are, it should indicate kind of what your soreness level is, right? So if you're the type of person that you're hypertrophy, you're just trying to make your muscles as big as possible, then yeah, you're going to have a higher level of soreness than somebody that's just like, hey, I'm just trying to keep it moving. You know,
Yeah.
I'm getting into my older age, whatever the case may be. I just want to feel good. I want to move. But I'm going to do that on a more frequent basis. Then the level of soreness is going to be less than, the person that's just trying to create as much hypertrophy as possible. So it's all based on your goals and what you're trying to do. And I would say that for this question in particular, she sounds like she sounds like that she's looking more for just someone to give her some accountability, give some structure as she comes into the gym, tell me what I need to do. I want a good, effective workout, but I don't want to be so sore that I can't move for the next 2-3 days.
Yeah.
Which, if her goal isn't hypertrophy, which I'm guessing is not.
I'd say general population.
Exactly.
That's not the goal. It's to get a good workout and be healthy.
Yeah.
Hit some goals.
So if you haven't worked that movement pattern in a while, then you're probably going to have a different level of soreness than you've had in the past because it's just new, right?
Yeah.
It's uncharted territory. But if you have been working out on a more frequent basis, then you don't really need a whole lot of soreness. You need just a little bit, and a little bit could mean you don't really feel like you're good. You come in and you get ready to do the workout and somebody asks you how you're feeling and you're like, oh, I'm fine. And then you kind of lift your arm up over your head and you're like, oh, okay, that's a little tight. Like I did something. That's an adequate level of soreness for just general population, somebody that just wants to keep it moving.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for more of like the other end of the spectrum and you're going to more like extremes, then you're going to have a different level of soreness because you're constantly pushing yourself to that threshold, and it's not, one's not right, one's wrong.
Yeah.
It's just all based off of what each individual person is trying to do. So if, that trainer loves that feeling, then they need to compartmentalize. That's them. That's their
wild
stuff, right? They're trying to put their goals on that person, and that's not.
Or maybe they've seen in the past that they have an amount of clients that are like, yeah, I love feeling crushed. I don't really know anybody that likes to feel like that on a regular basis, though.
Right.
Like every once in a while where you're like, damn, I really did something. But even then, by like day 3, you're like, that's enough.
Right.
Like, when am I going to feel normal again?
And then some trainers, they what's the right word? Feel that people are expecting that level of bringing it.
To feel like they're getting their money's worth.
Exactly. You're paying for this. You're going to come in. You're going to get a workout in, right? And it's like, well, that's fine if that's what they're paying you for. Some people are paying you to hold them accountable, to keep it moving, to get more frequency in, right? Because like, in my opinion, if you're so sore that you can't move for the next 2-3 days without pain, well, you're probably going to move less in those 2-3 days because you're so sore. Then to take your workout back a little bit, get less sore, and move more frequently throughout the week, and you're going to get more volume over that week, which would lead to better results than being so sore that you can't work out for the next 2-3 days.
Yeah.
Right. Because then it's creating those habits day in, day out that allow you to get the change, if that is your goal that you're trying to achieve.
Yeah. That's where I'm like, I like the level of soreness of like when you switch things up.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, okay, I'm feeling that. Like, okay, I worked the correct thing. Like the goal was achieved, but it's never like after a day I'm still sore. It's like one of those things of like, you laugh and your abs ache and you're like, oh, like wasn't walking around like, ugh, but it's like I laughed and I felt it. I'm like, cool, I actually worked my core really well then because I'm feeling it. Like I feel like, for me anyway, that feels like an adequate amount of soreness, and I don't even want to feel that way after every workout.
Right.
But if I felt that way, if I was choosing like I'm getting after it this time and I want to work some stuff differently or work a little bit harder than usual, then I'd say that I'm happy with that level of soreness. But also if I'm not sore, I know I'm in a different headspace now than where I have been in the past of being like, that doesn't mean I didn't get a good workout.
Exactly.
And I think that correlation happens way too much of like, I'm not sore. That means I didn't work out enough or correctly and it did nothing for me.
Yep.
And that's just not true. Yeah.
way off base. Yeah. I think that just how you phrase that is perfect. Like that little adequate level of soreness 2-3 times a week, you're good. You're doing what your body will thank you for that eventually.
Yeah.
It's not going to be an overnight thing, which we've talked about numerous times. It's just that, so many people just, they have that stigma of, well, if I went into the gym for an hour, I have to give everything that I had and I got to crush it and bigger, faster, stronger.
My shower.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I get it. I get that mentality, and that has a place for certain people and certain goals. But general population, it's just, that's not needed.
Yeah. Well, it just feels like the soreness after stuff like that is a badge of honor. Mm-hmm. Like I am so sore I can't get off the toilet. Like it almost like, it's weird how it translates into like badass vibes.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's not because you weren't being a badass, because one, you were deconditioned to some sort of level to get crushed that hard in that whatever arena that is. And two, like, how are you a badass? Because now you can't function for the next several days. Like you can't do a damn thing because you hurt too bad. Like that's not a badass vibe.
Yeah. So you were in your eyes, you were a badass for an hour, and now you're not a badass for the next 23.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take the 23 hours over the 1 hour.
But I mean, I will say that I'm completely guilty of being in this headspace too, of thinking of like, yeah, I need to be really sore, especially doing like boot camp classes and sort of stuff, that those types of workouts that I've done in the past, but before I became completely broken, that, yeah, it just felt like, oh man, like I'm feeling really sore. I crushed it. I worked really hard, man. I'm really working towards my goals. And I think again, it has a time and place
for sure.
And to have that every once in a while, it does feel good of like, man, I brought it. Like I sweat through my shirt today. I am a badass, but if you're just like continually chasing that, and that's the everyday norm, and that's what you're being consistent with, like that seems like it's just going to like fry you out.
Exactly. And it is. I mean, at some point your nervous system isn't going to be able to handle that and you're going to break down. I mean, and I was guilty of it. I mean, 6-7 days a week, it was like you worked out as hard as you could, and every set you were going to failure, and it's like just young and dumb.
Yeah. But I think it's also too, not only that, being in that headspace, but I think, for me coming from like a weight loss perspective, because it's like when your head is in that mindset, when you're hard in that lane of like, I'm losing weight, I'm hitting my goals, I'm eating healthy. And it's just like, where it almost becomes tunnel vision, and you're like, you are in the thick of that, which somebody they're listening to this right now might feel that it does feel like, of like, then you have to chase those things to hit your goals more. Like, man, if I'm gunning for weight loss, which is, a story of my life, of like, well, man, I'm going to chase after these hard workouts because that's going to get me to my goal quicker.
Yep.
Like that's going to, like, I have this much to lose. I have these sorts of goals. Like I need to come in and crush because I got stuff I'm doing here, man. You know what I mean? It's not just casual. It's like, pedal to the metal. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And so I think that it's also, and I've been in that headspace in the not too distant past of doing 2-a-days of like, and this is a whole nother topic, but like some of the instances I did 2-a-days and I would make myself sick is because I would try to counterbalance just being a normal human going to a barbecue, of being like, hey, I'm going to a pig roast today. And I know I'm going to be drinking beers and eating, roasted pig and eating all the potato salad in the world and hanging on the lake and doing all that stuff. Man, I'm going to crush 2 workouts then because I'm just going to be skidding off the rails. And it was that exact instance happened in that day. And it ruined the end of the day because I felt so awful.
Yeah.
I did 2 hours. I did 2 back-to-back, like essentially boot camp classes, trying to counteract going to this pig roast. And when I first got, it was fine. And but after like drinking and being in the sun, and I still wasn't like going ham on the food. I was still being mindful. But like by the end of the day, I'm like, I feel awful. Yeah. I feel like I was punched in the head. And it's like, that was the exercise. That's not all the Bud Lights I'm drinking.
Right.
And I'm like, lesson learned. That was stupid. I actually made my time worse instead of just going and eating the damn potato salad.
Right. Just going to the gym for an hour, getting a good workout in, going, enjoying yourself. Like you said, not going overboard. And then the next day, go to the gym for an hour.
Yeah.
The next day, go to the gym for an hour. Like, it's just habits repeated over time is what's going to give you the results that you're looking for. You know,
and also I just want to say on that same sort of topic, not getting in the habit of, I did on quote unquote bad today. Like I went and crushed a buffet or something like that. Or I did bad. I ate a cheeseburger or I ate a whole pizza. So when I go to the gym tomorrow, I'm going to spend that hour punishing myself and killing myself to try to counterbalance that. Also horrible idea.
Oh, yeah. There were so many times working at the big box gym that I would see people while they're working out, they would come over, weigh themselves.
Oh, no.
And then go back to working out. Like, guys, it
doesn't work that way.
It all changes. Like when you're working out, when you're moving your body is adjusting, it's adapting, it's holding on to water. Yeah. It's not excreting what it needs to. That's not you. When you step on that scale, that's not an accurate depiction of what that, you know, weight is at that certain point in time. And it damn sure doesn't mean go back and do more cardio because you're just going to hold on to more water. And, you know, it's just that sick cycle of, you know, it's just, we try to, it's like we either don't do anything or we go ham. Yeah. And it's like, we can't find that balance of, and I'm pot calling the kettle black. You know, I'm not sitting here saying that it's a really hard headspace to get out of, but.
Yeah, but you think that you're doing so good because you're in that headspace rather than being the doing nothing headspace. Right. So it's like you would choose that headspace over the other one, but until you've lived it, you don't realize being there will fry out so bad that you're going to skid right back to the other one and you're going to be there longer. Yeah. And again, like we're talking about like consistency of like, yes, like go to the gym every day or whatever you need to do. But if you're incorporating things like that into that consistency or thinking that, again, you can outrun a bad diet, then I'm going to go out for beers and wings tonight. I'm going to go to the gym in the morning and punish myself. And then, last night I got a nachos Bel Grande and then I got to go crush it again tomorrow. And if that becomes part of the routine, then you're constant stress. Yeah. Oh God, that sounds horrible.
Because you're literally right? One end of the scale to the other end of the scale spectrum. And your body's just constantly going to be in this turmoil of like, all right, we're eating junk. All right, we're going ham. All right, we're eating.
Yeah. Or even that I think even more prevalent than that one is that I do good all week and then I skid off the rails on the weekend, which weekends are incredibly hard, especially now as at least the United States, which I got a message today about how much Canada is still in lockdown, which I was unaware of because I stopped watching the news. But at least here, things are feeling like 2019 again for the most part. And with things, you know, sort of opening up and people are like getting out on the weekends and getting after it because it's like, woo, we can like go out again of like how you like that's, I think, really hard conversation with yourself of looking at your habits and how you're going to do that. Like, it does suck to like exercise, go to the gym 3 days a week during the week or go every day or whatever your jam is, and to eat healthy, to just have it completely obliterated by your choices on Friday and Saturday night. And that's where it's like, but on Monday, by you going back to the gym and crushing isn't going to outdo those 2 days. I mean, you're pretty much just going to balance each other out.
Right.
So it's like, how do you find that, again, more consistency or balance in that? And so like, do you have to go ham on Friday and Saturday? Like, or could you sprinkle some of that in during the week a little bit more, or just it's all about what you want and how much you want it.
Yep. And that's exactly it. It always boils back to your goals. You know, if you're cool with maintenance, then keep doing what you're doing. Yeah. You know, if you're maintaining, then keep doing that algorithm, because that's what it's giving you. If you're not happy with where you're at and you wish to change it, then you got to change it. You know, so many people, it's not a complicated formula. It's a hard formula because it's just, again, just do it over and over and over and over and over again. And it's, you know, how many repetitions can you do and habit can you create and that kind of thing. It's just, but again, I can sit here and look at myself and go, yeah, you're full of shit. You know, because like I do the same thing. I mean, we all do it.
Yeah, we all do it.
You know, it's just like you got to try to catch yourself in it as much as you can and give yourself, you know, sometimes you just need a recovery day. And then sometimes you take way too many recovery days and you need to get after it a little bit. You know, you just got to kind of see where you're at on the spectrum and adjust accordingly.
Or just not every weekend. Because I know that I've had somebody reach out to me recently and it's like, now that things are becoming more normal again and they're opening back up, of like, I'm just taking White Claws to the face all weekend and going to Orange Theory during the week. So doing some really intense workouts and, you know, quote unquote being good all week and then just smashing it on the weekend. And it's like, but that's something, I mean, that's life. So it's like, it is like, that's where it's a hard conversation. Like you're saying of like, well, do I have to do that every weekend? You know, do I have to get blackout every weekend? And it's one of those things of like, if this is truly a lifestyle and you don't want to be in that hamster wheel, like concessions have to be made. There has to be some sort of sacrifices. There has to be a better balance instead of all one or the other or completely giving up. And I don't know, it is so hard. I mean, I know that this podcast topic isn't about weekends and maybe that should be a whole topipic with us and some more of the trainers. Cause I really feel like that's where people get so messed up. Cause not every people typically, I guess, I mean, I don't know. I have so many freaking clients on Saturday. I'm almost contradicting myself, but like, it doesn't feel to me like most people think of the gym on a weekend. Right. It's like, that's during the week. That is part of my routine during the week. The weekends, my days off from that. I mean, I'm just guessing broad strokes here. I'd say for a general amount of people. Yeah. And so, then, you know, where do you go from there?
Well, I mean, I think that it's either, like you said, you got to kind of own it and know that everything happens in seasons, right? Because like that's more of my style is like I'm a go hard both ways. But then I know that I'm not making a lot of progress in the summer, right? Yeah. Like I know that summer's you're maintaining, you're going to slip a little bit, but make sure that you keep it within the parameters of what I deem acceptable for myself, and everybody has difference. But then in November, December, I'm going to use that as more of my bulking style. And then right before in the springtime, that's when I really kind of tighten things up as much as I can for the summer. And then I try to maintenance it. And you just got to kind of learn your
again, like habits. I just want to reiterate, that's your rhythm.
Exactly.
And where you're at. And that doesn't mean that works for everybody. Yep. And it's all just kind of like, I do like that seasons though of like, I'm going to gun it a little bit more here than others. And I know at least for so many women, which this is a whole nother topic of like my summer bod and stuff like that of, you know, thinking bikini season and all that stuff that the hard work goes in before summer. But, and I that's also, again, a general statement, but it's also one of those things of like, yeah, but then if you are taking White Claws to the face all day and you are just partying hard all summer, you know where you're going to end up when it's October. Right. You know what I mean? It's just like, again, you're doing another cycle again in that sort of way. And it's like, well, you get to October and you're like, and then you give up? Or is it like, hey, I know that's my rhythm and this is how I pick myself up from that. And I think that it takes a level, again, of practice and consistency of living this lifestyle to understand that's your rhythm of like, I go hard in spring, in summer, I kind of party my face off and I know I gained 20 pounds through the summer or whatever, and it's got to come off again. If that's your thing, to realize that's just my behavior and this is how I work with that behavior rather than just like, I give up. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think that, I don't know. I think that's one of the things you just have to live through.
Or beating yourself up and trying to create perfection all the time. Yeah. You know, I think that can get into a very dangerous place for people too, because you're holding yourself to a really hard expectation. Yeah. You know, so you got to kind of, I don't know, like you said, you got to go through it and you got to go through the journey and kind of figure out what works for you and be honest with yourself. You know, I think that looking in the mirror is definitely something that people have trouble with, and just saying like, I struggle with this. Yeah. You know, and
that's a point where too, you can also be like, I need help with this.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause so many people think that, oh, I I can't show weakness. I can't show that I struggle with anything. You know?
Yeah.
And I'm guilty, you know, we're all guilty of it, but you know, I think the more and more you can step back and take a look in the mirror and just have an honest conversation with yourself and know what your tendencies are, and then try to just game plan for those is to make it as much of a win as possible, and just give yourself that kind of, all right, you knew this was what you were going to do. Don't beat yourself up for it. Just plan accordingly, you know, set the rails. Like, you know, mine are 5-10 pounds. If I go in around 10 pounds and I've gained 10 pounds over the summer, I've too far. Gotcha. Nope. Not partying this weekend. No, I'm sorry. Can't. Nope.
Yeah.
Got to turn it back, you know.
Do you really do that?
What's that?
Think that you gain 10 pounds and you'll say no to going out on the weekend, or saying no to drinking beer?
Yeah, mine's 8 pounds is where
really?
That's my hard stop.
Where are you at now on your spectrum?
So I'm staying right at 190. I haven't gained, lost this. It's been a weird ride. I used to fluctuate real hard with my weight, and now it's staying pretty consistent.
Why do you think that is?
No clue. Older, maybe. I don't know.
Man, I'm jealous of that.
Yeah, I have no clue. Used to it would bump, you know, it'd go up to about 195 in the summer, and I'd be like, all right, I'm watching it, and then I get around to 198, 190, and I was like, okay, got to turn this back.
God, I'll gain 5 pounds just by being on my period.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't have one of those.
Well, lucky.
It's very true.
Yes, but
very
that's also
true.
one of those things too. Like, you have to take into account.
Yes.
Like, I have to take into account. Like, I mean, I do now because I weigh myself once a week. But I mean, I take into account of like, I'm on my period right now, or I'm about to start, or wherever I'm at in my cycle. That changes the scale. It also changes how my clothes fit. It changes how I view myself. It's so strange. And I know that you don't understand because you don't have to live through this, but it's like, even just like last week, which, you know, I was having a rough week anyway, because I got a concussion, and I just also was on my period. So it was like a really awesome week for me last week. It was the best. And so it's like, I know that what my body looks like, and I know my measurements exactly, and I know where everything is, and it's yesterday is the same as today, but I can look in the mirror and be like, oh my God, what happened to you?
Oh yeah.
Like, you just look like this huge balloon, and you're just kind of like, this isn't real. Like, and in your head, you're just like, cause you just feel bloated and you just feel gross, and you just like, because I don't know, your hormones, and you're holding on to water and everything else. And it's like, it gets so in your head. And in the past, it has gotten really in my head, even though intellectually I know it's happening. But now it's just kind of like, that has to roll right off of me.
Yeah.
It happens every damn month, unfortunately. And so it's like, I have to know. And that's where it's like, I look in the mirror and be like, oh my God, oh, like, you just look horrible, which is so mean to myself. And be like, that's not real. That's your hormones messing with your brain too. Mm-hmm. It's not real. Don't look at it today. You got to let that go. It's not real. And it's so hard. And I think that's where it's hard, where people weigh themselves every day, because you watch those fluctuations and then you punish yourself for them. And it's, again, where consistency can go bad is doing those sorts of things that can be detrimental to your mental health.
Well, but that's like OCD, right?
Well, not only OCD, but it's also, that can, man, we're kind of going all over the place here, but it's also can be a level of accountability. And that's where I've used it before, weighing myself every day. And I've gone in a lot of phases with the scale of weighing myself every day, weighing myself once a week, or never weighing myself. And I've gone in a lot of those phases a lot of times. Again, different seasons call for different things. And when I have weighed myself every day, which I've done a decent amount, like I've gone years weighing myself every day, it was because it held me accountable, because I would have problems at night. That's when I wanted to binge, or that's when I comfort food. And for me, the accountability part was, you got to weigh yourself in the morning. Do you want to visually see the consequences of you doing this right now? And I'm like, no, I don't. That will ruin my entire day tomorrow. Do I want to ruin my entire day tomorrow to eat a pint of ice cream right now? I don't. And so it would just stop me. It was basically a stop sign of like, stop, think about your choices. And sometimes it'd be like, I don't care, I'm eating this. But it was a way for me to like hit a pause button and think about my choice instead of just gunning for whatever I wanted to do. And so I felt like at that time that was a healthy choice because it was my accountability partner. But at other times when it's like, I gained 2 pounds, you are a piece of trash, you trash bag full of nacho cheese, of like, then I'm like, this is terrible for my mental health. I can't get on the scale. Nope, it's killing me. It's making my days worse. I'm living and dying by this damn number. Throw this thing out of here. Nope.
Yep.
We're not going to step back on it until I'm in a good headspace that I'm cool with this again. And it's not going to wreck my self-worth by what this number of my gravitational pull on this earth is. And so that's where I've gone in phases with that, which is, you know, I think it's such a huge part of a weight loss journey. If you're trying to lose weight, you want to have those markers. You want to have those to gauge your levels of success, like soreness. Like you're gauging your level of success and your momentum forward by what the soreness feels like, what the scale says, how your pants fit, all of those other things. And it's like, but you have to have a healthy relationship with all of those things, or it's going to hurt you more than it helps you.
Yeah. I mean, you're 100% accurate on that. Like, yeah, so many people, you know, we're such an analytic driven society.
Yeah, speaking like, from my
God, yeah, it's like everybody just wants to know what is success. Somebody else tell me what success is, and it's like, dude, you got to determine what success is for you.
But then getting obsessed with the metrics,
and then like you said, like, but then learning what metrics serve you and what metrics are harming you, and you know, use the ones that help you, and know that you're going to use different metrics at different times in your life. You know, if this worked in the past and it's not working now, change it.
Yeah.
It's not not set. It doesn't have to be this way all the time. It can only be this way. It's it's just not how it works.
Well, and that's why, like, again, in different phases of my life, I did view that soreness as you crushed it. You got after it. Like, because I spent so my life never feeling sore from doing anything because I didn't do a damn thing.
And maybe that soreness created the muscle tissue that you have now that you don't have to be sore. You just need to stimulate it a little bit, right? We can have that conversation. This conversation could go any way. It's not like there's not a right answer to this.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, you gotta take what it is that your goal is and what you're trying to achieve and, you know, make it make sense to you.
Well, and find, if you are going to have somebody to hold you accountable, or you're going to have somebody to help you, like this person that hired a personal trainer, you have to have the right person. And again, if that person's not listening to what you're saying, and again, it's like you're saying, I don't want to be this level of sore. Like, this is not okay for me. I'm asking for your help and this is painful. And they're just like, whatever, get over it.
Yep.
That's the wrong person to help you on your journey. You don't want somebody to baby you either and not push you. Like, you don't want that either. And I don't really feel like most people, I would guess, in this field would kind of have that. There has to be some level of tough love in any sort of personal training, health coaching. That's what the accountability part is not to like pat your back and tell you it's okay after every decision you make. If the decision's going to not help you achieve that goal. So it also, and again, that's just another level of work in this of like, awesome. I'm glad you're reaching out for help. You're looking for somebody to help you. And then it just sucks that you find people that don't. Yeah. And then you have to go to another level of like, well, I'm trying to figure out the exercise, the eating, I'm trying to all this experimenting to reach my goals. And now I have to like keep hiring and firing the people in my life to help me that aren't the correct people. But that's life, man.
Well, but to that point, give it time. You know, you can't just go in once and be like, I don't want to be sore. And then the trainer makes you too sore. And then you're like, I'm never going back to that guy. Yeah. Right. Like it's gotta be a conversation, and it has to, but yes, to your point, if you've had that conversation numerous times and it's not changing, then something's got to change. And that change has to be you finding someone else.
But you used to be that trainer though, right?
What do you mean?
Like, you used to make people puke and stuff. They're like, yeah, I get sore, I'm going to crush your ass.
Literally, that was like the first 2 weeks of me training, because it was so like everybody was doing it. And I'm like, okay, there's one common variable here, and that's me. Like, I got to learn this quicker. This is not helping people, you know? And I mean, it gets scary. Like when you see somebody that's just like, just completely white faced and they look at you like they're not even here. You're like, oh no, you just went to a bad place. You need to sit down. Let me go grab you a Gatorade, pop your feet up a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, why
I
does
can't
this
imagine
keep happening?
Like, I don't know. That would scare me so much, taking somebody to that level. Like, I don't think with anything that I do. I mean, you've watched me, or you're helping me learn how to become a trainer. Like, I don't know. I don't even think that's within me to crush somebody so hard that they would puke.
Yeah, I mean, I like doing it every once in a while. If it's the person that's asking for it, you know what I mean? Like it's got this, there's a right time for that. And you know,
there's a right time to puke from working out?
I mean,
sometimes
like sports specific training. Yeah. You gotta,
well, that's what you and
I don't
Nick,
know about puking.
Yeah. Where you were so like, 'cause I just had no athletic background. Of like with you and Nick, who's one of the other trainers here, talking about like you doing sports growing up and how everybody's like puking and all this other stuff. I'm like, oh my God, this sounds awful. Who would sign up for this? Of like, I don't know. That's just so out of my realm of reality of like, if I did something and it made me puke, I'm like, I'm never coming back. Peace out.
Yeah. But
like, it's just
you
so
show
weird.
up to football and you're deconditioned and you're running sprints. Like it's a group fitness class. Yeah. Everybody else ain't puking. Why are you puking? Get up, weak. Let's go.
God. Yeah, I don't know.
That's a different level.
Well, it is. I don't know. That's just
where I'm at
Me.
now. No, you do not need to puke. And I don't believe that anybody that's going through exercise needs to puke. You know, just to be clear, disclaimer on
I've never puked from working out. When I did CrossFit, I got close.
Yeah.
And that's where they're like, I already puked today. You can puke. I'm like, I don't want to puke. Of like, but other than that, I've only puked from being blackout drunk.
Yeah. Yeah. The worst one I've had is a leg workout, and I puked twice during it.
Oh God.
I used to have a standard, so I had a manual transmission, and I couldn't leave the gym for an hour because I couldn't extend my leg to
oh my God.
shift the car. Yeah, that was the worst one.
Were you playing football or something at that time, or was this just your own workout?
No, that was when I was getting ready to go to play football.
Okay.
So that was all right, I got to get after it.
Oof.
Yeah.
That seems a terrible idea.
Yeah. It was a very bad idea. Very bad. You should not do that. If anybody's listening.
What's a great idea is playing my sweet and spicy truth game. Actually, I don't know how great it is because I'm still on the fence about this game. I like my little book of questions better. But
yeah, this is very, I don't know.
Would you rather do the book?
I mean, couldn't we just wrap it up?
No.
See ya.
No. What were you going to say about this game?
It's just like the spicy questions are just like sexual related.
Not all of them. Well, let me.
The majority of them.
Are they?
Oh, here we go. This first was not going to be.
It was.
It was.
Oh my God! Yeah. They all are.
Yeah, it's like a.
At least all the ones I was pulling there.
We're going into the.
So this is it's getting all crushed up. It's called If Questions for the Game of Life because people have asked me about this book before. Also off Amazon. Pick a page number, Josh.
Ooh.
Between 1 and 120.
42.
42. Oh my God. What a question that is. Oh. What a strange question that one is. Here's a really hard one. Oh, no, that's what she said. Wow. If you had to eat the same meal for the rest of your life, morning, noon, and night, without worrying about nutrition, what would you eat?
Ooh. The same, like if you go
the exact
pizza,
same.
Is it like the same type of pizza?
If you had to eat the same meal for the rest of your life, I'm going to say this exact, pizza makes sense, but no, we're going to go with eat the exact same thing. You're just eating your meal prep meal till you die.
What an awful, that would be rough. But I have to go with just a ham, cheese, pepper omelet.
Oh my God. Okay.
Basic,
what kind of cheese?
American.
Okay.
Yeah. Or like a sharp cheddar.
You want to eat that every meal for the rest of your life.
Let's be clear. I don't want to eat anything every single meal for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But if I had to choose, it would probably be a basic or like an egg sandwich,
Okay.
But yeah, it's just pizza would be good for
a while.
Yeah. How long? Okay. There's a question. How long could you eat the same meal before you're just like, okay. Because I know
that's
you
a good
said
question for me because I
yeah.
meal prep. Yeah. Okay. That's a really good question. I mean, if I'm eating it every single meal, so like if we're going to talk about like my meal prep, like how long can I eat the exact same breakfast let's just talk breakfast. Months. And I have gone months eating the exact same breakfast for a long time, including when you were training me, because I didn't want to have a big breakfast before I came and worked out. I would have a protein shake, and it was just spinach, ice water, chocolate protein powder. And that's what I would drink, one of those I probably drank that every single morning, probably for a couple years. So I didn't, because I liked it and I didn't mind that. If I really like one of my meal prep meals, none of mine this week are really blowing my skirt up. But like I had the past couple weeks I was doing for breakfast, I was doing like fried potatoes, eggs, and bacon and blueberries. I could probably have that every morning, probably for a solid couple months for breakfast.
But if you had to do every meal,
how
long do you think you could do?
If I had to do every meal like that, and I eat 5 meals a day, I had to eat that same thing. I mean, probably a few weeks. I mean, I'd say probably like week 3, I'd be like,
week 3, hey, that's still a good amount of time.
Yeah. I mean,
day in, day out, 5 meals a day. So you're talking 35 meals a week.
If it's a meal I really like, I mean, again, this is not ideal. I'm not hyped to do this.
Right.
If this is, again, I don't have any other choice, or I get $1 million. If I got $1 million at the end of it, I could do it for a long time.
Go.
Yeah. No, because I don't really mind eating the same thing over and over again. Obviously, I've been meal prepping for like 8 years. Not always as intense as I do now, because I didn't used to meal prep every single meal towards the beginning. But yeah, I mean, there's certain things like I just brought chicken back because I'm like, I've gone months with one of my meals every week having chicken in it. And I'm like, and it was getting to the point where I was choking it down. And I'm like, it's got to take a break.
Right.
It's got to take a break. So there's certain things like that. But I mean, if I really genuinely enjoy it, especially stuff with like pasta. I really like pasta or rice. I just like carbs. Or here's a good example. Like every night I make Kodiak cakes, and I'm on a real kick with that. I'm choosing to continue that as like my 5th meal for like weeks and weeks until it starts to get those really haven't burned me yet, but I'll get to the point where I'm like, I don't want to not like this. So I have to take a break from this. So I still like it.
You can see the end coming. You're like, okay, this is not filling me up as much as I liked it before.
Yeah.
Okay.
But generally I kind of keep things on a 2-week rotation. I used to keep things just on a 1-week rotation, but my life is kind of chaotic right now. So it's just easier for my brain space to do it 2 weeks at a time. And I don't mind 2 weeks at a time. But yeah, I mean, I eat the same 5 meals every single day for 2 weeks straight. And I don't mind it. Depending on what it is towards the end of the 2 weeks, I'm like, again, like with the chicken, I don't want that. This week, I can already kind of tell. And I was just, my brain was so scrambled from this damn concussion. I was supposed to be making slider burgers. And I knew that. And I still just threw it in as ground beef. And I just all crumbled up. And I'm like, I guess I'm eating loose meat sandwiches this week.
Yeah, you were a space cadet last week.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm not hyped to eat that. I'm not excited to figure out how to scoop this ground beef onto these slider buns. So that one is not good. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Did you want to ask me a question of this book?
Do you want the book or do you want the game?
Or did you have one that you saw there that you
Let's
wanted?
go page number. I'll find one and then I'll ask you one.
Let's go page number 23.
Okay. So the question would be from the game. Would you rather be able to fly or breathe underwater?
Fly. Yeah, fly. I mean, breathe underwater would be cool because I would like to discover some the oceans are so untapped. There's sections of the oceans that humans don't know anything about. So that's kind of cool. So it's kind of like another planet.
Yeah, but you would have to swim down there.
Yeah, well, I got gains, bro. You
think you're gonna beat sonar?
We we're talking about how fast I had to go. I'm like,
Yeah, see you in 20 years.
That's true. But yeah, flying for sure. Flying would be fun. Do you ever fly in your dreams?
No.
Okay.
Do you?
No, I wish I could. I don't know. I can't lucid dream or anything like that. Any good questions on page 23? You can go to another page if you can't find it.
I'm a slow reader.
That's okay. I'll just fill the space with my voice.
Good. Thank you.
Do it. And as we recorded this podcast, I have 15 text messages to look at. Like, good Lord.
Dude, this is such a dark question. I don't want to ask this question because I don't want to know the answer to this.
Okay.
If you had to kill someone, who would it be and how would you do it?
Oh, I don't want to answer that.
Right?
I don't want to kill anybody.
That's weird.
There's not even, I don't even have an answer to that. That's like a plot of like a horror movie. Like you have to choose someone in your life to kill.
Yeah.
Like that's awful. Yeah, I don't want anything to do with that. I don't like that.
If a photograph of one part of your body were to be used in an advertisement, which part would you want to be used and for what product or service? I almost said that without laughing.
I mean, is it the body part that I'm most confident about, or is it the body part that I guess I'm like, I want to be seen on a like national scale, I guess?
I would say go with body part you're most confident about.
I would do my boobs.
Okay.
That's the only thing consistently in my entire life that I'm like, yeah, these are good.
And what would be your product or service that you would want those to be advertised?
I mean,
for?
anything. Does it need a product or service to be
You're
attached
just like
to?
use these. These are what
You're welcome.
I would go your calves.
Oh.
And you could use those for. You remember the old Jumpman shoes?
Like moon shoes?
No, they were like a tennis shoe, and then they had like a lift on the front of them.
No.
And they were designed to like make you always be on your calves so you could jump higher.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were called Jumpmans. I might be saying
That's what
that
you would do
wrong.
for you? Is you would show
No,
up? Oh, for me?
saying for you. Yeah.
Oh, because I have killer calves?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not as killer as my boobs, though.
And not touching that one.
Not for free.
Well, see you later.
All right. If you're interested in training at Cincy 360 Fitness, what's the email, Josh?
It's info@cincy360fitness.com.
Okay, bye.
See ya.
AmandaValentineBites.com